Hey guys, welcome back. Basically what I'm going to make this video for is all you folks out there that have a Integra 2 that's throwing error codes and you're having a hard time tracking down the problem. What I did here is I have a troublesheet that I'm just going to, go off of, and I've written some notes down here in order to help. This is what we explain to customers when they call us up looking for assistance. You have error codes ER0 to ER4, and each one pretty much directs you to potential problems. ER0, if you start your stove up, you get an ER0. That's normally due to a low limit trigger issue, which means that the gas temperatures didn't get up to either 120 or 140 depending on the low limit snap disc that you have, which closes the circuit when it reaches temperature. That's pretty much really the only issue that you can address with the ER0. Very rare ER0 pops up, but if, say for instance, you start the stove up for the very first time, the auger shaft isn't filled enough and it drops very minimal pellets upon startup, you won't necessarily get the heat necessary in order to close that snap disc in order for your stove to continue to run. So if you get an ER0, I suggest that you shut it down and go ahead and restart it again, and make sure that your pellets are dropping immediately. You shouldn't have a hesitation in dropping to the pellets. Also, if your pellets are contaminated, too much bark, dirt, bugs, whatever else is, plastics, all kinds of fillers in some of the cheap pellets out there, they don't necessarily have the BTUs that a high quality pellet's going to produce, which is necessary in order to get the stove to work properly. So if you do get an ER0, you can question the pellets. If they're having a hard time starting, it could be a very poor pellet, could be contaminated with too much moisture, which then is not going to release enough heat in order to get your low limit snap disc to close and keep your stove running. If you have any more questions, always feel free to give us a call. 800-348-1021, Pacific time, 9 to 6, Monday through Friday. Another potential problem could be that, if it is running and you have a hopper switch, and let's just say that you filled your pellet stove up and you forgot to keep your pellet, or you forgot to close the hopper lid door, that's obviously going to cool it down and you're going to have, a pellet feeding issue. Another thing is if you walk in, you find that it's reading ER0 and your stove is shut down, you could have ran out of pellets. Very easy to check. So moving on, and there could potentially be other issues, but I've just spent 5 minutes on just ER0, so I don't want this to turn into a half-hour video. Again, you can give us a call. We're more than happy to chat with you. ER1, the feed auger parameters, is out of sync with the combustion fan, which means that you're either dumping not enough or too many pellets according to how many RPMs your combustion fan is running, which actually creates the negative pressure in the stove. So when your combustion fan turns on, what you're immediately doing is you're drawing fresh air into and bypassing your air sensor. And your air sensor adjusts according to all of the readings that are fed back to the board. So your board's talking to air sensor's talking to your board. It's working hand in hand. ER1 normally is if somebody gets in and messes with the programming. It's rather difficult to get into the back door of the programming, which we only recommend technicians to get into, because you can mess your stove up pretty bad if you get into some of the programming areas which you really want to know what you're doing before you start changing this or that. ER2, high limit triggered. High limit is just the opposite of low limit. Low limit's open and it closes when it heats up to temperature. High limit is closed. You reach the high limit temperature of the snap disc that you have in your stove, and it opens, it kills the stove, kills all the power. So if the high limit, obviously is having issues, most of the time you're not going to have power to your stove. If you do have an ER2, that's actually the air code, which is the most serious. And you really want to get that figured out before. Don't try to keep your stove going and force it to go if at all possible. Get that snap disc checked out. It could be that the snap disc is disconnected. Somebody got in and messed around with it, disconnected one of the leads. The snap disc, I've spoken about on other videos, that if you over tighten the snap disc, it actually warps it. And because the end of the snap disc protrudes where the screw leads go in, if you crank them down, it warps the snap disc and it won't work properly. So you always want to make sure that if you change out that snap disc, it stays loose. You can wiggle it. Another thing is, if individuals have a tendency to get into their stove and clean, knock a wire off or two, a potential problem for an ER2 is if you get the high limit and the low limit snap discs swapped. That's an obvious. ER3 is airflow. Airflow meaning there's many airflow issues that you can have. Gasketing problems on your combustion fan, on your door, on your low limit snap disc that is mounted on your combustion fan housing. That's got a gasket. If any of the air seals of this stove is affected, it will start malfunctioning. So ER3, a lot of times due to air issues, is due to, it needs to be cleaned because you're not getting enough airflow. Could be that your burn pot's, plugged with clinkers and you need to clean out all the oxygen ports on your burn pot. You got to make sure that your air inlet isn't plugged and restricting fresh air from coming in past your air sensor. We've seen even high winds that blow across the chimney cap to where it blows so hard it actually creates a negative pressure and draws the air out of the home, which then affects the air sensor, which will shut your stove down. We always recommend that you don't have the chimney mounted on the south side of your home. Obviously, there's situations to where, you're going to do what you're going to do. If you do have problems with airflow flowing across your cap and having air sensor problems, we do carry a cap that's for high winds that actually increases positive or negative flow due to outside conditions. Chimney cleaning is very important. The combustion fan is very important to keep clean. Your horizontal exhaust chamber that you have to get to when you're looking at your stove, you take off the right back panel and you'll see a little round door. Make sure that you get that all cleaned out. Behind that little round doors, you got a tightening screw. Unscrew it and you'll see the horizontal channel. Behind the back firewall, you have combustion gas inlets into that horizontal chamber that have to stay cleaned out. If those plug up, then improper airflow will obviously give you an ER3. So cleaning, it's very important. You have the insulation panel behind the back lower firewall, cast wall. If that deteriorates and you lose that seal, you can have airflow problems, ER3 issues there. Whenever that starts heavily deteriorating, they're cheap. Give us a call, we can send you a new one. Anything that you need for Integra 1, Integra 2, Vizio Premio, Wegas, Taurus, Esprits, Vivas, we've got most everything necessary. There are a few parts that are becoming hard to get, but sometimes we manufacture things in order to get people up and running. Move on to ER4, last but not least. ER4 is basically when your user board flashes. When that happens, you will sense or you'll hear your combustion fan amping up, because what it's trying to do is draw more fresh air into your stove in order to keep it burning. Also, the combustion fan might act erratic and high and low and run really high, and then all of a sudden seems like it shuts down. Normally an ER4. Again, that's a cleaning problem or an air inlet problem. So fans, motors, gaskets, snap discs, glass, body parts, doors, handles, we got it. And we're here to help. Again, offgridstoves.com is our website. Or you can email us at offgridstoves@gmail.com. My wife and I, we've been in the business for over 30 years, 33 years. Saturday is our family day, so we are closed on Saturdays. But, if you find that you need something right away, we can next day it to you, or, we can help you out any way possible. Again, thanks for watching, and check us out. If you have any questions about anything, have a good one.